Hi, everybody. This is Tyler Yonker, aka Mrs. Yonks with the Open DAO. Super excited to welcome everybody to our first Treasury Alliance meeting here on January 2nd, first meeting of the new year. So welcome Yonks and some guy. We're excited to have you guys both on our panel. This meeting is being live streamed out to YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn. And if you happen to be watching it on YouTube, we do monitor those comments in real time. So give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and ask any questions or make any comments. Whatever we can address, we will. Something that to put on all your radars, tomorrow at 12 p.m. noon Eastern and 5 p.m. UTC, there's going to be a really important Ask Me Anything with the leaders of SOS. So you don't want to miss that. That's exciting. If you don't have access to our Google Cal, I'm going to put it here in the YouTube comments, and we'd love for you to subscribe to it so you don't miss anything. And if you are on Twitter, please tweet out this meeting. If you don't know what to tweet, go to Yonks, YONKS, retweet what he posted. And we just love to get more people into this community. So with that, Yonks, why don't you just give us a 30-second intro, and then we'll go to you, some guy.
It took me a minute to click on the little unmute button. I'm still trying to get acclimated with the keyboard shortcuts here, but not great at that. So quick intro, Mrs. Yonks and I work full-time in DAOs pretty much since June or July of 2021. We absolutely believe that DAOs, which stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organizations, are the future of work. Not going to go into more detail on that here. We are so passionate about that and really saw the opportunity for the momentum. We've never seen a project command this kind of momentum. And I'll probably bring up an infographic that one of the guys or ladies at the Marketing Alliance generated to just help quantify breaking records, shattering records here with what has been done with this project. And Mrs. Yonks and I, we are not anonymous, and we guard our reputation dearly. And we, we've already even updated our LinkedIn to show our association with this project because we absolutely believe in the mission and the founding ethos of what exists here, and looking forward to working with the Treasury Alliance as well as all the other alliances.
Awesome. Some guy, welcome to the panel. Please give us a quick intro.
Thanks, y'all. So I am actually my full-time job is involved in the securities industry in the United States. So I will be a non-docs member until things change on that front. But I've done some work in DAOs over the course of the last year. I've been involved in the cryptocurrency world and blockchain for the last 10 years, actually. So, I have gotten really deep down the rabbit hole here. I wish I could update my LinkedIn to show my association like the two of you guys. That's awesome. But just really looking to see, how I can kind of lend some of my traditional securities training and experience to the great project of Open DAO, because I've not seen an organization like this kind of blossom the way that this one has. It's been kind of amazing to watch. So, hopefully we can all put our heads together and really dive in and build something great. So looking forward to getting in and talking a little bit about Treasury Alliance and what we're going to be able to do.
Awesome. Welcome. We're glad you're here. So a couple things. One is this DAO is global. We have members all over the world. And one of the things that is going to be interesting is with this global structure, what does that look like from a treasury management standpoint? We're dealing with a lot of countries. We're dealing with a lot of securities laws. In general, most countries tend to follow U.S. securities laws, kind of the gold standard of securities laws. But one of the things about the Treasury is now that and for those of you who guys have been following along for the last week, we did just recently elect the multi-sig signers. Super proud of my babe Yonks. He got 10% of the vote. He got 10% of the approval votes. Didn't actually make the cut for the top 9. Super proud of you, babe, putting yourself out there. We do have our 9 multi-sig signers, and the format for proposing something, whether that's a governance mechanism or a grant request or funding or whatever, is to make a soft proposal in the Discord channel. You have to get 100 people to give it a thumbs up, and then one of the multi-sig signers can make that into a formal proposal for you, I believe is how they're doing that. So with that, Yanks, did you have anything else to add before we keep going?
No, and I think that that's one of the things that cannot be stated enough as far as how significant of a milestone that this was. And this is something that I'm here in the official news as far as the multi-sig candidate voting has ended. And this is Discord. Let's actually just, since a lot of people aren't familiar with DAOs, let's actually just go real quick to snapshot.org. There's a video on our YouTube channel, and just wanted to show this is utilized by a lot of DAOs in the space, like alluded just briefly earlier, that Mrs. Yonks and I have been working full-time in DAOs since June or July. When we got engaged in DAOs, there was only 1.23K spaces here on Snapshot. So just in the last 6 months, it's like 3x'd. And DAOs are just starting to get some momentum. The Open DAO, literally, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, WAGMI 2022. Everybody just got this surprise here. Like how I even came across the Open DAO was a good story, because like I'm not a big NFT collector, more now than I was earlier in the year, but like OpenSea, we have only bought up until very recently one NFT on OpenSea. So the amount of airdrop that we received was very small, but that's another story. This is what I was wanting to show, Open DAO. And don't fall for the poser here. This isn't the real deal. The one that's the real project is the one with almost 3,000 members. And to go what Mrs. Yonks was saying, this is in a very important milestone, is the multi-sig wallet. So for people that aren't familiar, it's basically like it's a treasury wallet, and it allows, the way that we're doing it here at Open DAO is there are 9 people that went through this process. And let me make it a little bit smaller so that you can see right over here. So the top 9 people are the ones that will be holding the keys to the kingdom, if you will. And what we're talking about
But
go ahead.
by the way, I just wanted to make a point. That was approval voting. So it was, that's why this adds up to way more than 100%. I don't know if that was confusing to anybody, but it was check everybody that you like, and you could vote for more than one. So yeah, and these people are potentially going to change. They're up. The way this thing is structured is these people are going to be voted on every 6 months. So they might stay the same, or they might not. If any of you listening are interested in potentially becoming a multi-sig signer in the future, you will have that option to run for that later on. So just get involved and start making connections there. But you do have that option to run for that in 6 months.
Yeah, so those 9 people, I believe that it's going to require 6 approvals in order for any money to move out of the treasury. And when we're talking the treasury, it's this pie, this 20%. This is what is allocated for the airdrop. The liquidity pool is already set up, and the staking incentives are coming here in January, from what I understand. So this is going to be a 20 trillion token wallet, treasury wallet, that these multi-sig candidates, and in order to, again, move the money out, it's going to require 6 of those 9 in order for the transaction. It's a pretty great, if you're not familiar, it's Gnosis Safe, and Mrs. Yonks and I are signers on some other projects that we're involved in. So getting back to the agenda, let me go back to that screen, and I'm going to turn it back over to you, Mrs. Yonks. You're on mute.
Oh gosh, thanks. So some guy, I wanted to start with you. Super interested in your background with securities and crypto. So what are some things that we need to think through when we're talking? Have you ever managed a treasury or been involved with a DAO that had financial tokens, not just social tokens?
Yeah, so I've not been in like a core contributor role on any DAOs that I've participated in, more been just kind of involved as a voice, kind of bringing ideas forward and kind of talking to the team that's more involved, as I've not thrown myself full throttle into any of the contributor roles, but I've definitely been involved in a number of different organizations and seen a lot out there. So there's a lot of different ways that it can go, that's for sure.
What are some, I mean, you don't have to tell me any of the specific organizations, but what are some best practices that you've seen or things that, speaking as somebody who wasn't necessarily always in the room when the decisions were getting made, what were some of the best practices that you saw that you really want to see replicated here with the Open DAO?
I think more than anything, and this might be like a broken record from what we all may have been hearing, I mean, with the name of just the organization in general being Open DAO, but transparency is absolutely key. I mean, if anybody out here has kept up with SushiSwap and kind of some of the things that went on behind closed doors there, I think that's an enormous example of what can happen when things aren't transparent and truly controlled by the community. I think that's going to be the most important piece of what makes the Open DAO is that it's actually open, and that the community is actually the one that's driving what we're doing. So at the end of the day, I think that the Treasury Alliance should be here to bring forth ideas and do the research and kind of be a voice for the community. So if people bring proposals towards us or bring ideas towards us, we flesh them out and then bring proposals to the table to actually be executed by the organization as a whole. And that means every single one of us, not just the select few.
Yeah, absolutely. And so something that this came up on an earlier call, somebody was saying, well, can the devs raise the price so then we can cash out, whatever. Now that the security is traded on, I think, a dozen exchanges or some high number of exchanges, once you are listed on an exchange, the price is set by the market. So if more people want it, the price will go up. If fewer people want it, the price will go down. The Just like anything else that has monetary value, the price can always go to zero. I don't know if that's super likely given that there's, last I looked, 212,000 people that hold it, but it's always a risk. Don't throw your life savings in this thing. Only invest what you can potentially afford to lose. That's my security mom disclaimer, even though this isn't necessarily applicable to that, but just it. So as far as the treasury management goes, one of the things that the treasury has the option to trade its own pool and then also swap tokens with other DAOs. They have an opportunity to buy tokens. They have lots of opportunities to manage the treasury. Some guy, what are some of your thoughts on? Have you ever been involved with tokenomics, or has that been on your radar at all?
Yeah, I spent quite a lot of my time over the last 6 months reading a lot of different white papers on different tokenomics and you know how a lot of different organizations and projects out there are managing their treasury, and you know there's so many different ways to do it. It's a bit overwhelming at times, but I think it's definitely important to be careful about how it's done at times, because I've definitely seen where it can go against you. Where I've seen some DAOs where they kind of liquidated a lot of their tokens or kind of pulled money basically from the community itself by selling tokens on the open market and things like that. And so I've seen a lot of what hasn't worked, and I've seen some of what has worked too. I think it's important for us to kind of marry those things together, learn from mistakes that we've seen that come before us, and kind of learn from the successes as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as your comment earlier about being transparent, one of the reasons why Yanks and I like to do these video productions is because everything's on the record. So if you want to go back to something and watch this again in 6 months, then we're here. It's all on the channel. And we run another DAO where all the work we've ever done is on the channel. And I think that goes a long way toward fostering transparency. Not that we have all the answers now, and definitely not that we're the people who are making all the decisions. This is really just about the conversation, giving people a place to ask questions, directing them to resources. We're hoping that more of the leadership of Open DAO wants to engage on video. We'd love to interview them and reach out and connect. And so this is just really a forum to come kick around ideas.
One of the things that I'm on the tokenomics conversation, we've got this like developer grant and, supporting, there's a lot of ways that we can fulfill these initial, and that's the thing that's fabulous about a DAO too. If we, the DAO, choose to move in a different direction. And one of the things, like, there's just a lot of little subtle things that, as a full-time person in DAOs, that really caught my eye. Like, just looking here at the first page, that really like resonated with me in a very subtle way was the first link here was a link to the snapshot. And we've got other snapshots or other spaces that we participate in from a DAO, but just that little subtle thing, it's like, wow, this is really wanting to put forward the decentralized aspect. And it doesn't, like, I think that there's a lot of misnomers, because a lot of the times DAOs don't start out decentralized. I mean, like, and that's one of the things that we have to work towards, because there's leaderships, there's people that have leadership and initiative, and some people have more initiative than other people, and a lot of that just depends on people's personal confidence levels and things like that. But that was just one little thing that resonated with me. And one of the things that I'm excited about, as far as from a Treasury standpoint, is the potential of, because like one of the things that has been put forward quite repeatedly is, oh, when is OpenSea going to make its own NFT platform? And one of the things that I put forward in a Twitter space with Jeremy Reichner, who is doing a great job with all of his efforts here at Open DAO, providing leadership for the Marketing Alliance. In that conversation, I was like, well, if we make our intentions to create our own NFT platform, why would other NFT platforms say, hey, if you want to be a part of the best NFT community, go to the Open DAO? And that's one of the things that I think that we can uniquely position ourselves as a beacon to the entire NFT ecosystem, where instead of being a potential competitor for all of the other platforms, if we instead work on fulfilling some of these initial founding principles of the Open DAO, which none of them are, as you can see, develop our own NFT platform. That's not one of them here. And I really would encourage people to think about that, is we've got so much responsibility. Like, we just concluded the Compensation Alliance, and unfortunately, scammers with OpenSea.io being the largest NFT platform, there are people that have architected scams that, steal people's crypto stuff. And fortunately, that's not something that we've personally been involved in, but we absolutely have heard horror stories of people that have done that. So, like, going back to the Treasury aspect of this, like, one of the things besides just the developer grant, potentially we could help other aspiring NFT platforms that we feel are aligned with our community here, potentially do some type of creative token swap or something like that, where it would functionally make us like VC DAO for other NFT platforms, where we wouldn't be directly competing with them ourselves, but yet we could potentially act in a VC capacity to aspiring NFT platforms. So that's just a couple thoughts that I have related to opportunities that I could see us from a Treasury standpoint.
Yeah, I think kind of playing off that too, Yonks, I think something that is really hard about this space is the barrier to entry with cryptocurrency in general and NFTs. It's not well understood how they work on the back end, right? Like the programming, the Solidity programming, how a lot of those things actually interact with, your personal cryptocurrency wallet when you hold it in there, when you interact with the different smart contracts on a website and things like that for these NFTs. And, we've seen so many scams and so many ways that, bad actors are getting creative about, how to steal from, people that are just trying to make their way in the space. I think that one thought that I had when I came across OpenDAO, was just that idea of providing some sort of a safety blanket or process to help people navigate those waters without having to be an expert in programming. Some way to help verify projects, or keep people from jumping into these projects that just have no real merit to them. Have some sort of a verification process that can be decentralized in a way, rather than concentrated and being directed by somebody like OpenSea or whoever it is.
Like, one of the challenges that we've run into with OpenSea is it, for lack of a better word, I tell people it's kind of the eBay of the NFT space, where they're not vetting these people. They're not making sure that they're legit. And if they are legit, if they're any good. So one of the things that has been really challenging is I think people thought, well, OpenSea is a reputable website, therefore the projects are all reputable, and they've kind of pre-screened it, and they haven't. So I think some of that's just education to make sure that people know this. As far as the Treasury goes, one of the things that I would love to put on a list of questions to ask is, are we interested in doing token swaps? And if we are, how do we decide who we want to swap with to diversify our Treasury? Things like, do we want to only diversify with one of the top 25 traded currencies, or the top 10 traded currencies, or whatever? Or are we open to lopsided swaps? Your token is not as well traded, it's not as valuable, but it's potential upside for ours. Is the kind of, what's the role of the Treasury management? Is it just to kind of hold, and stable value is not a good word for something that's as volatile as SOS, but is it more kind of Treasury preservation, or are they trying to grow it? Are we trying to grow the internal Treasury for other purposes for the DAO, or are we just trying to support what we have? And then if we create something that creates incoming funding in the future, then that's a different thing. So I think those are all important questions to think about.
Yeah, big time. I think that one thing to remember too is, if we want to support the cryptocurrency world, that costs money, right? So there has to be a way for the Treasury to be self-sustaining in some way, shape, or form. So, I think that one thing that would be helpful for us would be to have some sort of idea proposal form for the community to send things to the Treasury Alliance to kind of look into. So if you are involved in another project that you think would be complementary to the Open DAO, or you want to see us get involved with X, Y, or Z, having some sort of standardized proposal to just get that in front of us, so that we can flesh it out, take a look, and kind of bring back the findings to the community. We're here to do that heavy lifting. I'm here to volunteer my time to do that. So I think that it's a team effort at the end of the day amongst the 200 and something thousand holders of the Open DAO to dictate where we're heading and who we're going to partner with and why. So we've already got the kind of soft partnership with oh gosh, why is the name of the other DAO escaping me right now? Treasure, what was it called? Oh gosh.
Well, you can just tell us about it if you don't remember the name.
Can't remember the name of it, but it's another kind of NFT-based platform that I'm not entirely familiar with, but it's been announced already in the announcements channel. And, we've also already partnered with X.XYZ as an NFT platform and things like that. So, I'm curious, one, as a question of my own, where those partnerships kind of came from and why. And also, some of these platforms, Treasure Land. Treasure Land is what it's called.
Jason, can you write these down? I think these are great things to say. That somebody had asked about X.XYZ, and there was some back and forth, and I don't know if any of you guys read that dialogue, but it just really felt like we were kind of coming into the middle of the conversation. If you didn't have the backstory, you didn't get it from that conversation. And that's one of the challenges with Discord, is everybody's kind of talking over each other in these typing rooms, and if people don't hit reply, you can't go back to the original. So getting some history and some context on that, like why did we partner with X.XYZ? The co-founder of Sushi Swap is now the #1 vote getter in this thing. So I'm thinking, what's the relationship with those guys? So great, let's figure that out. And the more transparent that we can be about why we make decisions, the better everybody's going to feel about the longevity of this DAO and the not sincerity, but the oh yeah. So Jason is up on his screen on tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. UTC. There is going to be an AMA with the community. So we've been pointing everybody that we've been hosting these calls all day. We've been telling everybody, if you have a question that we don't have the answers to, then ask it on the AMA. It's a great forum. If this thing is popular, I'm sure they're open to doing more of them. But there's a lot of people have a lot of really good questions, and we would love to get a lot of those answered.
So I took the liberty of pulling over a couple here because there was these, and I'm not sure exactly how the decision was to put these initial immediate tasks forward, and it's a pretty long list, and we've seen some of these kind of crossover. Like, this is something that we are going to continue to talk about and do better at as far as our DAO here, the Open DAO. But this is like every DAO that Mrs. Yonks and I are involved in. This is a recurring conversation that's happening simultaneously, is create a seamless onboarding process. So I don't necessarily feel that that falls within the scope, but we should absolutely be involved and aware of that, because I think that that's the biggest opportunity. But going back to, go ahead.
Sorry. Oh yeah. While you're on that, seamless onboarding, we're not always onboarding for the same reasons. So how do we onboard somebody who wants to make a new proposal or a new investor in the DAO? How do we get them their role as a token holder? And do they know how to cast a vote on Snapshot? Do they know how to make a proposal? And do they know how to propose a project? And do they know how we manage the treasury? I think a lot of, especially with 57,000 people in the Discord, we're going to get lots and lots of repeat questions, and standardizing as much of this stuff as we can and informing people if and why and when it's going to change, and preferably give them the opportunity to vote on anything major in advance would really help people feel like it's not some shadowy devs controlling these hundreds of millions of dollars.
But going back to these three tasks, and these are really projects, honestly, because each one of these will have multiple tasks in order to fulfill this overarching project. But some of these that I think they're worth mentioning are plan a community reward fund and present a proposal to the DAO. So and looking and having a good perspective as far as some of the other alliances, this is definitely something that hasn't been a recurring task here. That's a unique task for the Treasury Alliance. Just to move down the list, create a sheet to track all accounts payable and accounts receivable. And I think that this is a good opportunity to potentially explore some DAO tooling. And I'm gonna kick it over to some guy 1, 2, 3, 4 and see if you have any experience that you might be able to garner to reduce the research efforts on either one of these, because really these are pretty closely related, these last two checkboxes here.
How do you mean, just like general tracking mechanisms for?
Is there such a thing as QuickBooks for crypto that, I mean, for lack of a better word, but can we show people our checkbook online and say XO whatever was the bill for Notion, and this was the grant that we made to Bob the NFT guy, and this was compensation for this and whatever. And so money leaving is always a question mark until it's transparent, and then it's not a question anymore.
Right. There isn't necessarily something that I've seen that does it well enough. There's certainly like treasury management tools out there, like parcel.money, for example. But it's hard to slap a name on something that happens on the blockchain, right? These transactions don't generally come along with a name. You can, of course, take a look at the Treasury wallet and see things moving in and out of it. At the end of the day, though, we need 6 of 9 signers to make anything happen in these wallets. So These are any payments that we do or any sort of money movement that happens should be relatively public before they ever happen, because they're going to take, one, a vote from the community, and two, they're going to take 6 of 9 of our multi-sig signers in order to transact. So,
Sure.
you know, we
I'm
can
not-
manually do it, but I don't think there's something that's going to automatically kind of keep track of these things for us at this point in time.
Yeah,
And
I'm not thinking that I'm not concerned about people stealing money. I think there's too much spread out for that. There's too much transparency for that. I am more interested in, can we turn this into a teaching moment for the community of saying, here are things that we're spending money on, here's how we're fulfilling our mission. So same way my dream is to have every government have their checkbook online, so you can just go into a spreadsheet or a tool of some kind or something and say, oh yeah, okay, that's where that went. All right, cool. With crypto, if you see FedEx as an expense, you know what it is. If you see XO, whatever, you don't know what it is. So
Yeah, absolutely.
and just looking, we just concluded the Compensation Alliance, which had a component in there for them to set up their own like multi-sig, because I don't necessarily think the expectation is that for like we've got this opportunity for compensating scam victims from OpenSea. So I don't think that like the main Treasury wallet that we went through the process for, like the big open DAO treasury that's going to hold the 20 trillion SOS tokens. I think the vision is here that we can have a sub treasury like from the Compensation Alliance, where they can put forward, like, whether it's a million or a billion or whatever the number is, SOS tokens on whatever type of an interval basis. And then, that could go there. And then the Compensation Alliance could be the stewards for delving out to provide restitution for that, so that the main treasury doesn't have to, every time that a victim is identified, that they have to send it. So that I think that's kind of providing some bigger vision to make this a little bit more manageable for the main multi-sig, and the opportunity for us to potentially have some solid workflow, because again, the DAO tooling space is so new, and this is again something that we're looking for solutions on. And I think that this is something where, engaging, we've got this research alliance, and it'll be interesting to see how the synergy exists between the alliances. So, but you said parcel.money, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So they provide, one-click mass payouts. I think they're powered by Gnosis Safe as well. They have yield optimization built into the protocol. So, if we're looking at yield farming with treasury assets and things like that, it makes it a little easier.
yeah, as far as the that's probably a question for the powers that be, of saying, do we want to set up a node? Do we want to stake? Do we want to trade? Do we want to trade our own currency back and forth? And part of it is, I think we've got so many different interesting opportunities with this many tokens. I mean, just I think this would have looked really, really different if they had issued a million tokens instead of 100 trillion, and made the bar a lot higher, but given it to a lot fewer people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very different different world when you've got that many tokens out there. I think that's something that we're kind of being tasked with as well. And last thing as well, just on the kind of tracking things, I think just for the moment, we're going to be kind of stuck with just doing like some Google Sheets type accounting, at least in the near term, until we come up with, or somebody finds some tool that we can use to make that a little bit easier.
Or
But
make some tool. Who knows? Maybe we're not the only people who need this. So shout out to anybody with dev and accounting skills, and you want to make this work. We'd love to see it.
Yeah, Dev Alliance, get in here. But I have some Solidity experience, but I don't know if I'm quite yet there. So maybe coming soon. But as far as kind of treasury situation, it's hard, right? Because when you start out, you're all in one currency, right? So at the end of the day, it's not like the Treasury can really go out there and earn other tokens right now, other than, you know, SOS tokens and sushi tokens. And that would involve selling SOS tokens from the Treasury, right? Which is something that I've seen DAOs do in the past, just sell their own token out of the Treasury. And I don't like that, because it essentially just takes liquidity out of the system for holders. So one thing that has been on my mind quite a bit recently and trying to theorize about is how do we bolster the Treasury with other currencies in a strategic manner? Is that going to come from partnerships completely? Is that going to come from some sort of bonding mechanism for holders, or you know, where is that funding going to come from so that we can actually be a cash flow positive Treasury at the end of the day? Because if we're just paying out SOS, we're not going to get anywhere.
Jason, can you put those on the list? Bonding, staking, just on the questions, or token swaps. I mean, there's lots of ways that we could. There's a lot of places that we could take this. And you're right. We don't want to just sell all of our treasury, and at the same time, it's really a huge vote of confidence for other DAOs that have tokens that have been around longer and have more established value to say, we think that your tokens are really valuable. We don't want to swap with them. So it's a kind of a fine line of yeah.
Yeah, so it's, again, we're right at the beginning right now, right? So it's really ideas coming out there and where should be fleshed out over time. So I know we're kind of coming up to the hour here. I could probably talk all day about theorizing how to manage a treasury when we're just kind of starting out the way that we have, but I don't think we have time for that.
Thanks for all your contributions, and anybody who's in the audience would love to encourage you to go to Discord, go to the Treasury channel, put in whatever comments, feedback, questions. Yonks's DMs are open. Mine are not. So if you need me, tag me. If you want Yonks, you can just tag him or DM him or whatever you want. Yeah, some guy, thanks for your participation. Hopefully we'll see you again on a future call. And for everybody who is in the audience, make sure you subscribe, leave us some comments, leave us a thumbs up. It's how YouTube gives the Open DAO more Google love. Is the more interaction we have, the higher we get ranked by Google, because they think people love our video. So we would love to get all your help with that.
And I do want to chime in here too, as far as this plan a community reward fund. I'm not exactly sure what the vision is for that, and I don't know if that's using some of this treasury to incentivize community participation. So I wasn't the one that put these immediate tasks forward, but just kind of planting this as far as an opportunity to have more conversation. So if you've got some thoughts and want to contribute to that conversation, let's extend those conversations over to the Discord. And I wanted to show real quick here the way that you participate in the DAO, and we are very open and inviting. Here at the very top, there's the Open DAO Verify. And right now, this channel is only one of 3 channels in here right now. This is the Treasury Alliance with the little bank emoji here. And you can see here, and I don't know if that's just because it was the first one on the list, but the Treasury Alliance has garnered the highest participation. And that being said, we again are open and inviting. We're just getting started here, and we believe that everybody can contribute something of value here to the Open DAO. We're all learning together here, and a lot more learning to do for all of us to make this an absolutely fun and exciting space in 2022. Anybody have any final thoughts before we call this one a wrap? And one thing, what was your thoughts, some guy, on the Let Us Meet?
I thought it was a great tool. I think that makes it a little easier. I mean, we had plenty of responders, but it's a one thing to get people to put their availability. It's another one for them to actually jump on the call, right? But I think that was a great way to just at least organize availability, because I originally was doing it just with a Discord reaction vote, right? And that's easily lost. So if we can, pin a let us meet to the channel, that makes it a lot easier.
Something that we are hoping that the mods give us access to is to start using the Sesh event bot for and give us the ability to put stuff on an official events calendar. And obviously we don't want to overwhelm people with too many events, but we do want to give people the opportunity to see it in Discord, see it on Google Calendar, get reminders. People are busy, and we're global. So I want to make sure that we're not scheduling stuff always at 4 a.m. at local time and that kind of thing. So we want to be inclusive to everybody.
Yeah, I'll be the first to say I am a 24-hour type of person after being involved in DAOs. I've been awake at 3 a.m. on a meeting just so that I can, be involved, and it's not fun. But happy
you have a day job. We just got to get you
that.
deep enough in the DAOs so you can quit your day job. That's what happens. Once you can, like, you're in at 3 a.m. and then you can sleep till noon because then you start your day and then you're good.
That's where I'm hoping to trend toward.
I don't know if I've said this on any of the other live streams, but I do identify as psychologically unemployable. And one of the things that I love referring to people that still have their day job is that's their fiat farming. So we love the crypto space. We do believe that DAOs are the future of work, and I am absolutely psychologically unemployable. A lot of people groan hopping on a Zoom, and we absolutely love it. You can look here at the calendar. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then Mrs. Yonks and I. So this
was actually 6, 7, or 7, 8 because these were another DAO that we run that's not Open DAO. 15, 1600 were both meetings. I mean, literally I'm just trying to figure out when I'm going to eat today. So it's been a busy day.
Well, thanks everybody. We love the engagement on YouTube, and we hope that this live streaming format is something that everybody is finding value in. And we will, tomorrow is officially the first week of 2022, and we're looking forward to having an absolutely fabulous 2022. So thanks everybody. Make sure that you smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next live stream.
Okay, bye everybody.
Thanks, guys.